How's it going, Leo? Thank you so much for checking out my channel here, Reflexive Moon Tarot. My name is Sarah. We are doing your reading for the full moon happening in Libra or Virgo, depending on if you follow sidereal or Western astrology, tropical. We are starting off this reading with the Moonology Oracle deck. But before that, let's just talk a little bit about the full moon in Libra. It's also a lunar eclipse. And then there's a full solar eclipse happening in the northern hemisphere on the 8th of April. But this eclipse will be a full lunar eclipse, and that happens a lot more often than a solar eclipse. It is still very significant. Like a nice little reset of energy that is centered in balance of the mind, issues related to justice, Libra vibes. Let's see what the Moonology deck has to say to set the tone for this reading. 2 again, I pulled 2 the last one. Okay, some type of loss, I feel. Your emotions are running high, so be very mindful of your energy and how much you expel. This is also indicating that you're having some second thoughts about your self-worth. So just know that you're good enough. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. Remember that, always. Shout out to the late Phil Hartman for his amazing Stuart Smalley vibes. So you are good enough, Leo. Don't ever doubt that. And you know, it's like totally in your nature to know how awesome you are, but that doesn't mean that you're completely free from feelings of self-doubt, questioning your self-worth at times. So everybody has these issues, and it doesn't mean that you're any less than. It just means that you need to, process your emotions in the way that works best for you, especially if that's a healthy way, right? If it's an unhealthy way, you may want to consider how well it actually works for you. You want to reconsider. But let's see what the tarot has to offer for the sign Leo. We have the Knight of Wands reversed. So yes, you are definitely having some issues related to confidence. And, it's hard for you because you're normally this very confident individual. So it's really, maybe coming at you from left field, and it's really throwing you off on some level. Now, there could be an individual. This might be you, but this also could be someone that you're concerned with, which is why it's, triggering you on some level. So the Knight of Wands reversed has somebody who is very insecure, but also takes out their insecurities on other people. So if this is somebody that's doing that for you, they could be a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. Normally this card is an Aries, so it could be someone who's an Aries that you're dealing with. But they're just, normally they seem kind of lucky, but they're unlucky. And it could be that they're unlucky in terms of having a solid foundation in which they have built their heart on some level. There's just like an emptiness, I feel. Empty vibes. But either way, this person can be very jealous for nothing. And it's completely out of their own insecurities that this stems from. So they may come across as very overconfident and cocky. And if this is you, please make sure that you are not subscribing to that type of behavior, because it's not pretty, and it's not reflective of your ability to actually be genuine in your infectious levels of confidence and charisma. All right? The Fool reverse. So there is something that you are crossing. This is like some type of loss where you've missed an opportunity, perhaps. Some type of missed opportunity. Maybe you were listening to, that voice of reason when it came to a situation that involved some risk, and it was not the more reasonable solution, or not the more reasonable choice, right? because, there is a point in which like the risk of staying the same becomes more painful than the risk of change. And that's actually part of one of the intros of one of Alicia Keys' album. I think the Element of Freedom. Maybe you should listen to that. That's a pretty empowering album. Okay, anything by Alicia Keys is pretty dope. Okay, let's see here. So making sure that we are not risking our well-being with future decisions and taking risks. The Fool is all about taking the plunge, doing something different, embarking on a new journey of life. And usually it stems from something that's like very innovative, a new and innovative way of thinking that's outside of your normal usual box. So let's see. Yeah, overlooking the situation, it looks like, the legacy that you have founded, or sort of like the idea of legacy. The universe is not really delivering on some level. The idea of legacy is not delivering. I feel like you have to sort of stem back to your roots and maybe what it is that you're doing, or the path that you've chosen is disconnected from that on some level. Excuse me. Connecting with source. Where do you find your source? The universe I feel like is telling you that you're disconnected from that on maybe multiple levels. And you may be very unhappy when it comes to money. Maybe you've made some poor financial decisions, or this individual that you're concerned with is costing you more heartache than what you had planned, or money. But within your subconscious, despite any type of loss that you're experiencing, whether it is financial or spiritual or physical in any type of way, like if it's your health that we're talking about here, you are very balanced with what it is that you are, that you still have the capacity to manifest from your dream time. So your outlook is always in balance, and it's healthy, despite anything outside of you that is countering that. We have the devil in your past. So you have been coming face to face, or some light has been shed on what it is that you are attached to in a negative way. And moving forward into the near future, we have the Empress. So you are going to come up with some new ideas, or an idea. It could be like the period of 9 or 10 months is very significant with this card ruled by Venus, which is significant to the cycle of day and night star. It's a woman's star, Venus, because it relates to the cycle of birth. So this may not necessarily mean that you're going to be pregnant or give birth in any type of way, but it could be the birth of a new idea, or you have some new ideas gestating. So it may take that period of time, 9 or 10 months. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So end of the year, or even the new year. What kind of New Year's resolutions you want to start working on now, early on? Deal with some shit proactively, right? Page of Cups. Keeping in mind that it is only a measurement in time, the new year. The Page of Cups. So your attitude is interestingly not that great. Emotionally, you're not taking yourself seriously. The Page of Cups is like a child. They don't take themselves seriously because they have nothing but discovery mode motivating them on some level, right? So making sure that you're being mature on an emotional level, kind of like basically like me telling you don't be a baby. And that's a mean thing to say to some people. And emotions are valid. So making sure that you're taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself in some type of way. But at the same time, not being a baby, so being a grown-up, having a grown-up approach to how you emotionally respond to things, And also not being mean. Children are mean. Young people are mean. They're bullies, and it's those moments at an early age where we're having to do those points of intervention as adults when it comes to our children, and teaching them how to be confident, how to take care of themselves, how to have self-esteem. So there's something maybe in your past where you kind of missed the mark when it comes to certain levels of self-esteem, where maybe you think that you need somebody in order to be valid, or maybe any kind of like attachment issue, or any early, like those early memories, right? That are very, that sort of determine how we view the world moving forward in life. And it can be good or bad or both. But either way, that's what is being revealed to you, is that your attitude on an emotional level requires some leveling up, okay? So your inner child could be motivating you in a negative way. And how are you going to nurture that child to be more responsible? When you think about the roots of empathy, children can be very empathetic. But they can also, like, if there's an empathy towards yourself that you're lacking in, it could be the very reason why you're struggling with your confidence. If the King of Pentacles reversed in the way that you are viewed from the outside. So it's no news that you appear unhealthy or toxic in some type of way. That maybe you're superficial. You're able to manifest maybe, but for superficial reasons. You could not really be, like, your heart might not be in your home, and your sense of home may not be in your heart right now. So that's something that you may want to look at, because it's seeping through on some level. Like you're giving off the impression that is the case. And whether you care about that or not is besides the point. If you want to appear differently, if you want to look like you're authentically at home and feeling good in who you are, or if you're even like feeling at home or good in your actual space, or if you actually are as wealthy as you give the impression of, or this could be even like faking like you don't have money because you feel more morally in alignment with people that have less. That's kind of weird, but it's possible. This could also just be that you are not as down to earth as you think you are, and other people are starting to notice. And it might not be that you may think that you're down to earth. You may actually believe and truly feel that you're a down to earth individual. You have this Empress energy, like it is within your capacity 100%. The Strength card ruled by Leo was all about being in the self and like a master of your own primal instincts, right? But here, for some reason, your capacity to respond to things emotionally in an emotionally mature way is not matching up to that. So there's something that you need to deal with. And the universe is telling you it has to do with your health, the long-term version of how that plays out, or how you are manifesting generational wealth. Now, you're very conflicted in terms of your hopes and fears. Like, you really are afraid. You have some fear when it comes to conflict. Maybe you've attracted, or not even attracted, but just, you've dealt with a lot of conflict, and it's just something that you avoid. But sometimes you can attract that through avoidance tactics. Like, it just manifests on its own that way if you're not grounded. And I can't see that you would hope for conflict, but sometimes, if you're going to look at it from a critical perspective, like the whole notion of conflict is what challenges us to do better, to grow, to learn. So with that regard, you could hope for some type of challenge with regards to, your ideas and your goals and how you actualize them and manifest for yourself. All right, another 5 here. So we're going from the conflict, like afraid, being the fear and hope of conflict, to the conflict of being robbed of opportunities, robbed of actual material possessions and wealth, and dealing with somebody who has a chip on their shoulder, who is a narcissist, and who targets people because hurt people. But either way, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with somebody like this, or if this is you, this person is the type of person that will just never quit. It's like they have decided that you are their target, or if this is you have decided that someone or something is your target, and the only way that your bullying or their bullying or predatorial behavior, theft of opportunities, is going to stop is if either like you erase yourself from the picture, you remove yourself from the picture, or somebody dies. Like it's like that. That's how powerful narcissistic tendencies can be. They just can't quit. They never will. So, what are you going to do about it? What can we do about it? That's a really great question. What can we do about this type of individual? All we can do is just, interestingly, cut our losses to a certain degree. We have temperance here. But emotional stagnation, numbing yourself out to the problem and just letting it slide, dealing with a narcissist who is stealing your energy even, that's not going to help you. That's not going to help you. It's like you're this sore little kid letting your bully take over your life, your will, your daily routine, everything. Allowing them to do that just because you don't think that you can win the game. You don't see any other way out. And you've had opportunities to get out. So connecting with that idea of something different, a space or, place in your life where there is more than just this situation where your energy is being robbed. And you have the knowledge, you're just not connecting with it. It's like honoring your sacredness. Yeah, it's like you're going to have to cut your losses and move on in some type of way if you're going to move forward from this situation. I don't know what it is. You'll know when it happens. Just know that you're good enough. And, whatever emotional reaction you have is, if you knew that whatever emotional, this is somebody that you're dealing with, it's like a shit-ass person, and your emotions are running high, you're basically you're fueling their fire. You're giving them what they want. They want a reaction out of you. They want you to get upset. And if this is you wanting someone else to be upset, wanting someone else to feel down and out, like if you're a narcissist, I don't really have anything to offer you. No, it's not. I'm not here for you. So move on. But if this is an individual that's harming you in some type of way, I really strongly suggest you cut your losses and move on. And, you only have to gain from that, basically, with the Empress. But if you continue to stay, you're going against what you know in your heart, and you're putting yourself in a spot where you're having to do a lot of emotional labor to numb out, and it's just really not the grown-up thing to do. It's the toxic thing to do. But let's clarify this with one more card, and then we'll move on to some affirmations. We have the Fool, the alternate Fool card. So we start with the Fool reverse, we end with the Fool reverse. So the choice is yours, basically. The choice is yours. What, or is this just going to be a full circle moment of a missed opportunity? It looks like that is the case, but it doesn't have to be. You have the capacity to change. It's just, are you going to be, you know, a scaredy cat and, you know, crawl under a rock? Or are you going to face your fears? Like, be the warrior that you are, Leo. And be ready. Be ready for what comes your way. All the, you know, the grief and hurt that comes along with having to let people go, let situations go. It's very real. And it's difficult. But, you know, making sure that you're honest with yourself about the fact that the bad outweighs the good. That is the key right there. Does the bad outweigh the good? And know that you're good enough. That for you, then you need to move on. Because your fabulous self doesn't need that shit. 100%. Alright, so pulling some retro cards from the Tarot Affirmations deck. We have the 7 of Coins. Interesting. Okay. You may want to screenshot that. There we go. So the fruits of your labor. I have come to a natural break, a time to stop and look back at what has been accomplished. I take advantage of this time to review my achievement and appreciate the fruits of my labor. I look ahead to reevaluate my priorities and reconsider my direction. I take a time to replenish my store of energy for the work still ahead. I take time to strengthen my motivation, commitment, and belief in my present undertaking. So allowing your fruit to ripen, not being impatient and wanting to pick it too soon, and giving yourself the time that you need to recuperate and regenerate from a stressful time that you've just experienced. Okay, so we are always keeping it spiritual AF over here at Reflexive Moon Tarot. Let's see what this deck has to offer today for Leo. Here we go. Courage is knowing it might hurt and doing it anyway. Stupidity is the same. That's why life is hard. Damn. What is the difference between courage and stupidity in your life? A big part of adulting is not crossing the line where your rebelliousness turns into recklessness. The people who ride this line most gracefully usually have a clear eye on their values and a good friend or two who will tell them when they're being a dumbass. If you can't decide if you're being brave or stupid, call a friend. Hint, don't call a dumbass friend though. All right. Happy lunar eclipse, Leo.